Transport and Environment is Europe's leading clean transport campaign group. We push for mobility that's affordable and good for our health, climate, and environment. Just one example, T&E's campaigning led Uber to commit to moving much of its European ride operations to electric cars. In 2020, T&E was working to analyze sustainable pathways for aviation, the most climate-intensive form of transport. We knew that emissions needed to fall before 2030, but solutions like sustainable fuel are taking time to scale up. Then along came the pandemic, which saw business travel fall by 60%. Companies successfully adapted to a new way of working. And we realized that the best and quickest way to reduce aviation emissions is to fly less, while working to accelerate clean technology. There are relatively easy ways to reduce emissions if we target the right flights and flyers. Only 1% of the global population is responsible for 50% of emissions from flying, and a big share of this, about 30% in Europe, comes from corporate flyers, often with high-polluting business class, long-haul flights. So, companies now have a unique opportunity to lead by innovating new practices and locking in the habits they acquired during the pandemic. Our Travel Smart campaign is about flying less, but achieving more. We want to inspire companies and employees like you to introduce a new culture of purposeful and effective travel. Travel Smart will save money for your business at the same time as you protect your employees' well-being. Travel Smart means meeting evolving investor expectations and showing leadership in the climate crisis. This is essential for communities around the world already feeling the impacts of climate change. So we ask businesses like yours to reduce their flying emissions by 50% or more from pre-pandemic levels by 2025. This means reducing frequent flying and giving employees more choice, like the ability to use virtual collaboration platforms and have incentives to travel by rail. If you reduce your travel emissions, you'll improve your company's standing. By innovating in your travel policies, you'll be in fact investing in your reputation. Tackling aviation emissions has to be a global effort. That's why we have just released a ranking of 230 global companies based in Europe and North America. With this benchmarking, we're able to compare commitments, look at emissions over time, and rank companies based on their performance and progress. A company setting the example with the top A score has an absolute reduction commitment by 2025 and transparently reports on its emissions. Only 8 companies, including Lloyds Banking and Ernst & Young, reach an A score, so more needs to be done. But we already see that momentum is growing. Over a dozen leading businesses have pledged to reduce their travel emissions by 50% or more, while twice that number have committed to lesser pledges. We see early movers in the UK, France, Germany, the Netherlands, Switzerland, the US, and beyond. With important peer effects in the consulting and finance sectors. This proves that reducing air travel can be part of any company's internal policies. And each of these businesses has multiple partners. When one company commits to flying less, it can spread that practice with clients and providers. For example, Boston Consulting Group created an internal task force to define next-generation ways of traveling for client work. They are assessing which elements of work can remain virtual going forward and where travel remains key to client value creation. This is purposeful travel. For now, this ranking is a first snapshot. We believe that moving towards realizing the benefits of reduced flying should be a shared journey. Travel Smart is a joint campaign made up of 13 partners from Europe, the US, and India. We are building a network of corporate leaders and employees, policymakers, and other concerned actors to share corporate flying best practices to reach our goal by the quickest route.